Hello friends, and welcome to CJoy Yoga. So I did a little trip over to the Columbia River Gorge to get a change of scenery and to try to get some activity that wasn't just around Bennington Lake. And I did Dog Mountain, which was a great hike, beautiful views of the Columbia River Gorge. But holy crap, it was a lot of up, and down, pretty rigorous. And my quads, I didn't do it yesterday, I did it the day before. And so yesterday my quads a little bit, like by the time last night came around, I'm usually second day kind of gal, and today's second day. And my quads are like, wow! My calves are talking a little bit, right? So this, if whether or not you've just done a major thing, it's that season again, we're trying to get active again. So this would be a really great post walking, even if it wasn't a major hike. You could do it before too, for sure. But if anyone else is getting out there and then they're like, ooh, I could use a little something to just kind of open up the lower body, hopefully this will be a good one for you. So I'm going to start with a blanket under me because I know I'm going to do some lunges and some knee stuff. I'm going to have blocks to assist me. Of course, you don't have to have any of these things. You can get by without. We're going to start in a child's pose, knees wide, big toes touch, buttocks sinking towards the heels. Stay up for a second with me if you don't mind, right? Notice I have my feet off when I'm on my blanket. It gives my ankles a little bit of support so that I'm not as stretching into the front of my ankles right now. And then instead of just plopping down, which I see all the time, we're going to walk it out just nice and slow. Try to keep the hips low, whatever that is in your body, as you try to walk out and lengthen the spine in the process. And yeah, once you get to that final place, you do get to soften the spine a little bit, right? And leave the arms active today. Hips could be higher. You could have a blanket behind your knees, all the usual suspects. You could also be lying on your back and hugging your knees in. Go ahead and just let your hips, if it feels okay, just sway a little bit from right to left and just start to say hello in that, the hip joints. Of course, we're starting to work a little bit with the SI and the sacrum. Nice and gentle. And then coming back through center. Go ahead and push the hands down and try to move the hips even a little further back and lengthen that spinal column of yours. And then we're going to walk our hands back, leaving our hips low if that's available for us. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring our knees in a little bit and do the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to come on forward. Now your ribs won't get down quite as far. They're going to get caught by your legs, right? And if this, by the way, is really compressive to anyone, in the belly or the chest or anything, go for the wide-legged version again. That's totally fine, right? And as you stretch out, again, I'm going to push a little forward and a little back and down. And then I'm going to walk up. I'm going to leave my legs in this configuration. Bring them in if they were wide. Bring your hands behind you and see if you can't sit and put the weight on the ankles. Now, for some of us, that's plenty. If it's too much, of course, don't do it, right? Stay forward and you could just leave some of the weight out of it. If it's okay to rock back and lift the knees. You can even move the shoulders back and open the chest a little bit, especially for anyone carrying backpacks, those kinds of things, right? And come on forward. And then we're going to curl our toes under, and we're going to do the similar, not the same thing, but a similar. We might leave our hips higher. We might not bear as much weight down. We might start to bear some weight, and depending on your body, the soles of your feet, you might walk your knees back just a little bit. I don't move my feet, and I'm really starting to get into the fascia on the bottom of my feet, right? My arches. I'm also starting to feel my calves stretching, right? Because as those heels push back, we lengthen the gastrocnemius and the soleus. And come on forward and do a little pitter patter onto the ground. And then take your right foot and bang it into your left arch, your left arch. And then take your left foot and bang it into your right arch. That hopefully feels quite lovely. You could keep doing that one, right? Now from there, we're going to curl our right toes under, and we're just going to rock a couple of times back and forth, just encouraging that back of the lower right leg to open up a little bit here. Now, if you prefer to stay in stillness and just push back and hold, you are welcome to that. I'm going to take a second and take off my socks because I am sliding and not getting quite as much friction as I would like.
right? And come back to neutral, bring that knee down. We're gonna switch out legs and just doing a little rock, back and forth, forward, backward, I guess I could say. And again, just starting to wake up the lower left leg. And coming back to the center. And then from there, we're going to step our right leg forward. So you can swing it wide. I like to bring blocks in, and you can just walk it over. I think that's the tenderest way for our body. And if you just did a big workout, you don't need to do a big workout right now. Go ahead and let the hips move forward and down and bring the chest a little forward. And then we're going to walk our hands, our blocks back, and we're going to start to move back. Now you don't have to flex the foot right off the bat. We're just saying hi to the hamstrings, right? As we move forward, we say hello to the front left hip and thigh. And as we move back and straighten the right leg any amount, we start to say hi to probably that right hamstring. Let's do that again. Reaching the chest forward, moving on the breath, inhale. Exhale back. I love you so much for all you do for me, body. Holy moly, I can't believe the trips you take me on and the hikes you bring me to. This time when you come forward, we're going to pause. Now, don't let the hips just sag in, right? Find a little bit of that pelvic floor action we've been working, that traction of the right heel back, left knee forward. Don't go crazy with it, just support. Put your hands on your thigh and start to push into that right thigh, pulling the frontal hip points up. And depending how much you hiked and worked, I mean, this might be plenty, right? If balance is an issue, put something under your fingers on either side. Maybe those arms reach up. And then we're going to grab the elbow points and we're going to pull that side waist long, pull that back waist long, and then don't just thrust down into that hanging joint, right? Hanging chad. But go ahead and take that, the tailbone and move it forward instead of thinking about just dropping the hip down and in, right? So I keep my frontal hip points pulled up and take a breath. And then we're going to go over to the sides. So you're going to put your right hand on your right thigh and lengthen over with that left hand to the right, trying to say hello to the top of that hip flexor. Bringing the hand down. We're going to go to the other one and work from there. So flex your right foot. You might even walk it a little forward so you don't have to bring the hips back quite as far, right? Again, I'm still going to do a little traction action. My left knee forward, my right heel tractions back. I'm just simply moving the block so you can see my formation a little better. I'm going to flex my right leg foot as much as I can. I'm going to straighten my right leg as much as I can. My hyperextenders, right? We're going to pull our kneecaps up like crazy. We might unbend, pull the kneecap up, and then move towards straight so we don't hyperextend. And then we're going to breathe real good into this. Now, if your foot's going into pronation, aka your pinky side's going way forward, imagine there being a wall underneath those 3 points of the foot pushing equally. It'd be an angled wall at the foot, right? Reach those buttocks bones back, reach the chest forward, and then lastly, if you've already been folded forward, you miss a lot of joy when you just rush into something, I think, right? And even if I have the best intentions and I try to bring awareness, I never find as much as I find when I move slower. I've tried, trust me. I'm a type A, efficient, effective, all those things, right? Eager beaver. I want to be able to do it quick, do it well. Inhale, reach the chest forward, but I've yet to have that happen. Go ahead and bring that foot back and come into your lunge. We got one more big ditty while we're here. We're going to do it all on one knee while we're here. So this time you are going to actually hang a little bit in that joint, as it were. You can flip that block onto low, left hand comes down on it, right hand, right thigh. So try to get more to the top of your left kneecap, reach the chest forward, and then we're going to bend that left knee and bring it towards us and try to reach back with the right hand. You have the strap option. You could strap the foot, or you could lie down on your side, right? I'm going to show that real quick, and you could do it from your side body. You would be laying all the way on your side. I'm just not going to go down quite that far, right? And then I've got two things going on. I'm going to reach the right shoulder up and move a little into my twist, but it's not a twist day so much as it is a quad day, right? So we're going to gently bring that heel towards the buttocks, but more than that, think of reaching your left knee back behind you as you pull your left hip point up towards your left shoulder. Take a breath into whatever you have going on. If your hamstrings just cramped, yep, you betcha, release it, stretch the hamstring, and try to come in again. And of course, if it's not going to come in without cramping, don't do it. And release that. But that is one of the most common things I see cramp-wise in classes. Go ahead and step that foot back. And between sides, I like to go wide. We're going to go into a downward dog, so feel free to take your time and bend your knees. Again, let's pulse the calves out. What do I mean by that? Bend the knees, reach the right heel down. Bend both knees, reach the left heel down. And if you do that a couple of times, just nice and slowly start to tease open those lower legs, the back of the lower legs. And then both of them for a breath, get nice and long in the spine. And bring the knees down. Stepping that left knee forward. Again, I like to bring in blocks A. I like to go wide and scoot over. I got plenty of workout. I don't need more workout right now. I need to be gentle with my body. It is screaming, asking me to be gentle, right? From there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reach that forward. And push it back, straightening my left leg any amount. And shoulder blades down the back, chest forward as the hips move forward. And exhale, moving back. And again, it's not the biggest thing you've done. We're just playing with it right now. We'll hold and work in a moment. So just move in nice and gentle and just start to encourage those muscles to lengthen. And then the next time we move forward, we'll stay and we'll work it. So now come on forward, but instead of hanging in that right hip joint, we're going to pull our right knee a little forward, traction our left knee a little back. Bring the hands onto the left thigh and start to push into that thigh to bring your body up. And oh, there it is. There they are, right? The front of that right hip flexor is probably talking quite a lot. I feel a little bit of quad and other things too. It's true, right? And then from there, we're going to maybe reach up and grab our elbow points, maybe not. We can feel free to balance on things on our sides. We're going to try to pull our elbow flesh up and lengthen our side waist and our back waist. And we're going to keep our back waist uber long. And if I move forward, it's not just hanging in the joint. I'm letting my tailbone start to move forward as I pull my right hip point up. And then hopefully it's like, whoo, hello, hip flexor. I love you so much for hauling those legs up that mountain. And then our left hand comes to our left thigh, lengthen the right arm and lean over to the left. And you might start to feel that hip flexor, the main one, as it moves up over the hip towards your low back. And breathe there. Coming back through center, we're going to bring that right hand down onto the block. Oh no, we're not. I'm sorry, I almost forgot the hamstrings. Oh my gosh. Go ahead and start to move the hips back. And again, I like to move my left leg a little forward so that I'm not all the way back with my hips. That's just my preference. I find more in my hamstring. So once you get there, right, bend the knee a little bit. That way we can work the hyperextension for all of us right at the same time. We're going to pull the kneecap up, 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 up as we start to lengthen and straighten. Never has to lengthen all the way. I'm flexing my left foot. I'm moving my buttocks back and lengthening my spine. Pause, stay there with it, right? Check in with the foot. If I were to put an angled wall or a board against your foot, would all 3 points, big toe mound, little toe mound in the middle of the heel, connect into that equally? And then lengthen the chest forward one more time, buttocks, bones back. Now that we've had some breaths, we probably have a little length happening. And maybe you soften down into that. You know, but again, are you pushing down into it because it's like the only way I can get length is if I totally disagree with you on that. I've talked a little bit before about how there are cells that inhibit the muscles from stretching until the tendon and the brain have had a conversation and know it's okay. That means you need a few breaths before the brain is like, oh, it's okay. Okay, release the inhibitor cells so we can find length in the muscle, right? So go slow. And then go ahead and put that foot down. You might pull it back a little bit. Now, bring the right hand onto your low, right? Maybe the ground. Left hand on the thigh. Get that ankle under the knee-ish. Lengthen the spine. And this time we do want those hips to move as far forward as they can, so hopefully we're more on the flesh above the kneecap. And we're going to bend the right knee and either take a strap, right? Or maybe you can grab it with your hand. Not that you were paying attention, but
if you can't tell, this is definitely my tighter side. The other side, I could bring my heel in quite a bit. This one is like, and which is true. I usually dominate with my right leg and it ends up being the tighter. Let that left shoulder lift, right? I haven't always known these things. I know these things because I pay attention to my body more and more and more every day, right? And as I gently bring that heel in, more than the heel to the buttocks, I'd like you to move your right heel back and down into the ground and pull your right frontal hip point, your as-is bone, up to the right shoulder. And that should pretty squarely put you into your quadriceps. 4 big old beastly, and I mean that in the best way, beastly muscles that every time you take a step, they lift that beautiful leg of yours, right? Well, they do a lot more than that. They also help flex the knee, but I said that all wrong. Don't listen to anything I just said. The hip flexor is the main thing that lifts it. It also, though, helps flex the hip and works with the knee and etc. Go ahead and bring that down and back. They're beautiful muscles. They help keep you mobile. I am brain dead today. Walk that left foot over to the left and swing back. Take another downward facing dog. And breathe. Again, feel free if it's a helpful thing to move from side to side. Bending one knee and straightening the other. You might just go right into both heels pushing down. The objective is not to get to the earth. If I were to say there's an objective in downward dog, I would say it's to find the longest spine you ever did find. If that means with bent knees, right? That's fine. And then start to push the heels down, not to get to the ground, but to get length in the back of your legs. Right? So think of the back of your body lengthening from the back of the hands, the back of the wrist, the back of the forearm. Think of the back of the shoulders lengthening, the back of the spine, right? Not so much your ribs fly to your knees. Keep those ribs in. So it's not necessarily that we're looking for huge sensation in all of the back body, but you're also lengthening your buttocks, your hamstrings, your calves, your Achilles. And let's come down into a child's pose. Wide knee, if that version is okay. And breathe. Let's bring the arms down for just a couple of breaths and rest them. I'm making a forehead pillow. You could do the same. I don't necessarily need one, but since I'm often in that forward folded position, sometimes it's nice to have the length that comes into the back of my neck, or the front of the neck. Let's do one more little thing here, and then I should probably stop videoing since I can't talk. Walk those arms out, lengthen, and then you're going to walk your hands back about a handprint, so your belly's up a little higher. You're going to walk over to the right side, child's pose. And then I'm going to, before I move that arm out, I'm going to use my right hand, push into the ground, and I'm going to turn my belly and I'm going to try and pull it up and over my right thigh, and then lengthen my left arm out. I can also lengthen my right arm, but if I'm enjoying that pushing down with that little extra twist that comes into it, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Soften the neck. Now you might feel this more up in your armpit, and that's okay. We'll still take that. Again, for anyone carrying backpacks or things like that, it's still lovely to get into that upper body. But maybe if you get that left hip to move down and back, you get a little extra length in those muscles of the lower left side back. And coming back up again, be about a handprint up from your farthest out position. Walk over to the left. Before you reach the right arm out, I'm going to suggest today you push into the left hand and you literally twist and kind of steer the abdomen towards that left thigh, Jiminy Christmas, and stretch and lengthen out. Now, rather than reaching out today and staying down, I'm using a little bit of a twisting action. Whatever one feels the best for you, do that one, please, right? As I reach forward, I'm going to push forward and down and reach that right hip back. And yeah, I definitely feel stuff around my armpit, but I'm also starting to lengthen those lower right back muscles. And then come back through center and walk the hands back and come up. And actually I want to do one more move and then a twist, and then we'll call it a day.
So legs out in front of you. Since we're kind of going to that area of the body, I'm like, let's go there actually. We're going to bring our right foot out, supporting that knee if necessary for any reason. Left leg comes out to the side a little bit. Right? And then from there, I'm going to get nice and tall. You could use a strap if you have one and you want to work with one. I'm going to turn my body a little towards that left thigh, and then I'm going to start to lengthen over. Now, if all I feel is hamstrings, I'm going to bend the knee a little bit. I might even just use a support system so I can still push down for that activity without totally hamstringing it up, right? As I turn my belly towards the left thigh, I might start to lengthen out of that lower right waist. Maybe reaching that arm over across the outer left leg it would be. Maybe not. Maybe I just grab onto the leg and help lengthen the spine. And think about that right buttocks bone being heavy and moving back and down from where it probably came from when you moved into the twist. And breathing. And inhaling up. Grabbing your right knee, I call it knee prevention medicine, right? And then we're going to bring that left leg out. We're going to support that knee if necessary. This is one that sometimes gets sensitive on me. I just do it automatically so it doesn't get extra sensitive. And again, I'm going to take the gentility, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but under that right knee so that it's not about a straight hamstring or a straight leg, right? And it's not about my hamstring, it's more about my low back. I'd way rather get into there right now. And then from there, I'm going to turn towards that right thigh as I start to stretch over, right? I move into that, and then maybe that left hand comes outside the right thigh. Maybe it doesn't. And maybe I can invite that left buttocks bone to reach down and back. Again, if it didn't come up, you don't have to do that. But for most of us, the buttocks comes with us because it's just going the direction that the rest of the body is moving, right? So if my buttocks moves in the opposite direction of my torso and my upper body, does that help create more length in that lower left side back? Inhaling, coming up. And moving those props off to the side. Have them handy when you come down. I'm going to give the option when you lay down for a few moments in Shavasana to bring in and have it actually be Baddha Konasana, bound angle. Come on down. If you don't know what that means, just have blocks on standby or 2 pillows, and I'll tell you all about it in a second. And then from there, let's do windshield wiper. We're going to stick with the lower body rendition of things today. You're going to go ahead and just walk those feet to whatever width feels good and start to sway those legs from side to side. Head can turn opposite direction. And if you want to stop somewhere and pause and take a breath, you can. Now, since I'm talking about how my quads are so much tighter than the rest of my body, when I pause, I'm going to do the stretch of pushing that left foot down and hugging the left hip in, so I lengthen a little bit more through the front of that left thigh. And breathing. And if you go with me, you don't have to be, and the legs go over to the left, I turn my head to the right, and then again I'm going to push my right foot down and hug my right glute in a little bit, trying to lengthen through the front of my right thigh for that little extra oomph there. And come on back through your center. When you're ready, let's meet there. And this is where you can just simply extend your legs out, Shavasana style. Awesome pose. Please do if that's what's feeling groovy. Otherwise, with pillows or blankets or blocks, I might bring the soles of my feet together, butterfly out. I like to go to wherever my legs go to naturally, and then I'm going to bring them up just a smidge, and I'm going to prop them just a little bit above that edge, right? So that my brain knows it's okay, it's safe, and it feels the blocks, right? But it'll still let go of these muscles. And will it feel like as much of a stretch? Potentially not, but these muscles, oh my gosh, you guys, the bodies that I work with, most of us, myself included, these muscles just hold a lot of chronic tension from being in a stressed out world. So it's not right now for me so much about trying to really feel a huge amount of sensation. It's about trying to encourage these to soften and let go. Blocks help that. You're not looking at the screen anymore. Neutral position for the neck, the shoulder blades, the arms, etc., right? We'll be here for about another minute or so. Bring your awareness to your breath. Any of my friends at home who are feeling quite comfy, cozy, hang out here. Be here for a while. If you're on a timeline, you can bring those legs on up. Move at least one of the blocks so that when you roll to the side, it won't be in your way. Take your time. You can still stretch or do all the things. And slowly make your way on up to seated when you're ready. To upright, I'm trying to call it more. Check in. Notice what you notice. Bring those hands together in front of the chest. Inhale. Exhale, bow the head. And again, I don't know what you've done recently moving your body, but even if it's, moving stuff around your house, spring cleaning, raising a baby, hiking up a mountain, oh my gosh, thank goodness for this beautiful body, and those legs, that lower body that really mobilize us so very much. Namaste. Thanks, friends. I'm afraid to say much because my little mouth is a blah, blah, blah.